So we just had our third iteration of 2v8 in DBD, and once again, the mode has suffered severely from extremely long queue times. There's just too many people that want to play killer with a friend. Behavior has tried a few things to address this issue this time around. They tried adding bots, but sadly that barely changed the matchmaking time outcomes and actually made Survivor less fun to play, meaning less people wanted to play Survivor, so this idea was pretty much self-defeating. They also tried buffing survivors dramatically to make the mode more fun for the survivor role and in turn less fun for the killers, but that also didn't change the matchmaking times. And in a bit of actual desperation, they even tried enormous blood point bonuses to get people to play survivor, and again it had a very small effect on the outcome of the matchmaking speed. BP in general has a depreciating value. The more behavior throws ridiculous amounts of BP at problems, the less effective it becomes overall, right? So then, what is the solution? What do we do to fix the matchmaking times in 2v8? Well, there is a solution, but it is not a perfect one. There is no perfect solution to this problem, and I think it's important to accept that. Now, there are smaller things behavior can do to mitigate the problem further, but first let's start with the primary solution to fixing the matchmaking times. Behavior needs to add priority queues to 2v8 for killer. So for just a few paid auric cells, you can buy yourself with real money ahead of everyone else in matchmaking, making sure you get to play first. I'm just kidding. That's a terrible idea. I don't know why you guys came up with it, to be honest. Okay, so this is how the actual priority queue would really work. Every time you play Survivor in 2v8, you earn a token. If you survive longer than 5 minutes, you can earn 2 tokens. These tokens are used to access the priority queue matchmaking for killer. The priority queue puts you in an expedited matchmaking category. So for example, every 10 2v8 lobbies that start, it will grab players from the priority queue, and then for the 11th lobby, it will grab someone or a team from the normal hobo queue. Now, this will tackle the problem from a lot of different angles. You'll have more people queuing up to play Survivor because they'd rather farm priority queue tokens as opposed to waiting 15 to 20 minutes for a single killer match, right? In addition, for the killer mains out there that are just too precious to ever play Survivor under any circumstances, even the hobo queue times should hypothetically shrink dramatically under this system because of the lower disparity between the amount of players queuing for killer and Survivor at the same time. So if you're like, well, I don't like the system because I'm never going to play Survivor, blah, 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 it's still going to make the matchmaking speed faster for you, even if you never try to enter into the priority queue. So it's just a net positive for you. So just schnauzer if that's your complaint. Like I said, it's not a perfect solution, but at this point, it might be the only viable option left. People I already know will comment and be like, well, nobody wants to play Survivor in 2v8 because it's no fun getting double teamed by 2 killers. And it's like, no, that's what you feel, and that's okay. There's a difference though. Every little niche problem doesn't apply to everybody. 80% of DBD players voted to extend 2v8 mode. By all accounts, it's a success in pretty much every way except for the queue times, and that's what we need to get fixed. Now, when I brought this up before, DBD Twitter said that if they implemented this feature, people would queue up for Survivor and then purposely try to die as fast as possible to farm priority queue tokens, right? They would try to game the system. So we do have to be realistic. There's always going to be losers trying to game every system that's created. That's just the way it works. So these players need to be punished, right? Either by this new go next prevention system, recognizing that they're doing this and then giving them like a DC penalty. That's one way it could work, or simply by us, the community, slugging these nerds and letting them be bored on the ground the entire match. In the end, them throwing matches affects everyone negatively. So as a community, I think we could all get behind that. With these priority queue tokens, behavior could continuously alter the value of like how many were needed to enter the priority queue until they have that perfect matchmaking speed optimized. So again, the idea is that instead of sitting in matchmaking for 2 hours in order to play a few small handful of killer matches in 2v8, you could now spend maybe an hour or two on Survivor, farm up a bunch of priority queue tokens, and then go have fast matchmaking until your tokens run out. And hopefully that makes sense. Now, of course, they could do other small things as well, like maybe make a class for Survivor that starts with a flashlight, and maybe another class that has Chem Trap and Blast Mine. They should do more interesting Survivor classes for sure. There's also really no reason not to have like at least an 800% BP bonus in the mode for survivors as well. This would be like if all the survivors in the lobby ran a bloody party streamers, right? Which really isn't all that dramatic at this point in DBD. And I guess the last thing we need to discuss is how do we fix the normal 1v4 killer queue times during a 2v8 event? And to be completely honest, I don't think there's any way to have a worthwhile conversation about that at this time. The priority queue needs to be implemented first. We need to get 2v8 queue times fixed. Then at that point, we can look at 1v4 queues, see how they're doing with priority queues up for 2v8, and then we can have a more serious discussion on how to address any issues that might still be going on there. But that's it. It's a very simple idea that just gets straight to the root of the problem. I'm curious what you all think. Do you have any ideas on how to address the 1v4 queue times during a 2v8 event? Let me know. And as always, thanks for watching and have a good one.